Imagine that you were hired to compose music for one of the biggest game franchises of all time. As a composer myself, I know how I would feel. I'd want to write big, sweeping, dramatic orchestral pieces that tell the epic tale of Link and Zelda. But instead, we got this. And for some reason, that's exactly what we needed. Because Breath of the Wild wasn't like the other Zelda games. It's intimate in a grand way. It's sparse, it's atmospheric, and I think that's what we can expect from the Tears of the Kingdom soundtrack. Now let's write some music of our own to figure out what makes this soundtrack work so well. I want to start off by writing a battle piece, because battle pieces are so fun in this game. So we're gonna start off by doing piano with a little bit of kind of like off-kilteredness. Now on top of that, I want to add just some fluttery piano notes. Okay, so that's very already Breath of the Wild sounding. Now on top of that, we need a bit of a string groove. That sounds really good. Now I think we need some trumpets doing like some bam, ba da ba bam, ba dum bam, because that's something I really noticed in those soundtracks. Okay, gotta fix those up a little bit, but that's kind of the idea. Now this whole groove is feeling really cool, but it doesn't have like a center to it, something to ground it. So we're gonna add some shakers just to make it feel a little bit more locked rhythmically. So you can see, even though we have a handful of instruments doing all this music, it still feels really full because there's so much syncopation going on between the instruments that it keeps it dynamic. Now here's the crazy thing. Doing a lot with a little. Yeah, that's what makes the music sound like the music in Breath of the Wild. But it's also what we're doing as the players of the game. You see, through the game, we have very limited resources. We have to work with what we've got and make a lot out of it. So in a way, that music represents the sparseness and resourcefulness we need to have as players to complete the game. But what about a track with just a solo piano? Players are playing this game for hundreds of hours. How can we possibly make a solo piano track stay interesting? First, we have to introduce a lot of silence into our piece to allow room for the sound and ambience. I'd be using similar harmonies, which is just big open fifths and fourths. Shuffling around, introducing a lot of baked-in silence, and just letting those notes ring out, because that was the whole thing that made the Breath of the Wild soundtrack so cool, was just this open space for you to appreciate the sound and atmosphere of the game. We're not just staying in one key either, because we have this kind of harmony, which we call Dorian, which is minor with a raised scale degree, so it feels a little bit hopeful. If we just did that kind of harmony, it would start to lose interest after a while. Instead, what we do is we borrow for some open fifths and open fourths into notes that aren't in that scale, and that makes it feel a little bit more interesting. Now I might do... So these notes are actually out of our key, but because they're spaced out far apart in the high register, they actually sound like they're in the key, and we're not playing them at the same time, we're staggering them. It's that level of tasteful restraint that makes Breath of the Wild soundtrack so memorable. And honestly, as excited as I am to hear the new soundtrack, I'm really just excited to get back into that world. More than any game I've ever played, Breath of the Wild gave me space to breathe, and I'm excited to just soak in this atmosphere again with Tears of the Kingdom. Now, I will be making a reaction video to the Tears of the Kingdom soundtrack once it comes out, so if you'd like to see that, please do subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot to me. If you enjoyed this video, you can leave a like, and I hope we all enjoy the game together. See you in the next video.